Hi, Andrew Cooper here, Advice for Living Financial Planning. The last couple of days on share markets, in particular yesterday, have been pretty disappointing, and I dare say a number of you are quite concerned about what's been happening. It's really been a collection of about, I suppose, three things. One is that the share market was probably a bit overheated anyway, but it has been burbling along pretty much okay. This coronavirus thing, which in some ways I think people are I think a lot of health authorities are overreacting to, and certainly the World Health Organization is not helping us there. They've been quite alarmist. And the third thing, and that was the thing that happened the day before, which no one really saw coming, which was that the Russians and the Saudis having a blue about the price of oil. I suppose in simple terms, my take on it is that now, they're all members of OPEC. They have an agreement in place to restrict the production of oil so that they can keep the price high. That agreement is coming up for renewal, and the Russians, I think, are just playing a bit of negotiation games and trying to get a bit more power in OPEC. OPEC is really run by Saudi Arabia, and so they've said, all right, well, we're not going to abide by the production restrictions. And so, as part of this brinkmanship, the Saudis said, well, in that case, all right, all bets are off. We're not going to restrict production, and so therefore the price dropped by 30% on the spot. That, of course, took a lot of stuff with it. So really a collection of things. Again, it's frustrating because particularly the oil thing, I should say it's a positive side to it, of course, is that your fuel will probably be cheaper. But they're individual events. There's not fundamentally major things wrong. It's just that there's particular events, particularly the oil thing. It hasn't happened yet, but it's fear of what might happen and that sort of thing. Likewise with the coronavirus thing. I'm sad that obviously people have been ill and people have died, but infinitely more people die from the flu every year. This is something new and they can't quite contain it. I'm confident that there will be a resolution to the coronavirus thing. They're already working on a vaccine, and you've just got to think eventually it'll work its way through. And likewise, the oil thing, the agreement comes up for renewal quite soon. So I suspect this is just a bit of brinkmanship between the Saudis and the Russians, and so I'm sure that the Russians, are not doing all that well. So I would expect they won't want the oil price to have dropped very much for very long. So I suspect they will magically come to an agreement with that fairly soon, and the oil price will go back up. The thing is to see this in context, of course. There's been a huge hit to the market, and yet if you think about, the banks got taken down a lot yesterday, and yet our Australian banks are very profitable. They're still going to be paying 5% dividends. They're doing really well. The money's not going to stop. So in terms of those of you that are concerned, I suppose the issue is, so I'm concerned. I wish the market was going up, but it's not. And I suppose the thing to think, all right, if you're not going to be in shares, if you've got share portfolio and you're not going to keep them, and they're paying say 4 to 5% dividends, and maybe even higher now that the share price has dropped, where are you going to put your money? Challenger annuity rates are down to a bit over 1%. Term deposits are running at 1% or less, and US 20-year government bonds are basically paying nothing. So the share price has dropped, not good, but as I say, but your share portfolios will still pay about a 5% dividend, and that's better than anything else you'll get on the market. Again, of course, we always remember, if the property market drops, we don't all rush out and sell our houses. As I've said in my previous videos, the things to remember are that a lot of this like panic selling has been because of automatic what are called stop losses that are built in, so that with large institutional investors. So what happens is the price drops a little bit, their stop loss kicks in and it automatically sells without anyone having a look around, anyone saying, oh, hang on, there's really no need to panic. And so their stop loss triggers, the price drops, that, and then someone else stop loss triggers, and it just goes on and on and on. So as I say, it's really a panic thing. The best way to avoid that is not to panic. Stick with what you've got. As I say, those of you that are in pension phase, you've got those cash buckets to draw from, and so that's fine. And those of you that are in accumulation, as I say, as long as you don't sell, you don't lose. So Alison and I at the moment are interstate visiting clients, but we're still, the phones are still on, the office is still open, and we're still keeping track on the markets. So please see this in perspective. It's not great. I wish the market was going up, but we've seen it before. GFC, we've seen. I don't think we're having a GFC. I think what we're having is basically two key events that have happened at the same time that have influenced a really shaky market. So if you've got any concerns, do please contact us. But for me, as I say, I'm upset that the market's dropped, but on the other hand, I'm not overly concerned. I'm certainly not selling any of my shareholdings, and I would encourage all of you not to panic. So anyway, give us a call if there's anything we can do. And as I say, because we're away, but we've got access to phones and emails. Okay, bye-bye.